legal teams change strategy all the time. When you find that an answering affidavit that has been submitted by the opposing or the respondent, in this case, opens up new channels, which we were looking for, and confirms thereof, that your initial submission, is on the right path. Then you change tack and you change strategy. It could be that you feel that maybe at that point you need to go to a different court. It could be that based on the evidence that you have, this answering affidavit gives more credence to that. So we're not in any way, going to pull the plug on this. We're going to continue actually more resolute now, because that answering affidavit has confirmed quite a lot of information and based on the evidence that we have. So we're full steam.
My understanding is that your lawyers have written to the IEC's legal team saying they're still collating evidence of vote rigging. As you say, there's more that's come that you want to include in the court case. So when you made the claims of vote rigging, weren't you satisfied with the evidence that you had received thus far? Because surely you were not reckless to make the claims without strong evidence.
No, we have strong evidence. There is no doubt about that. But, when you see that based on the responding or the answering affidavit and the information that you have, the evidence that you have, the discrepancies that have unfolded, and they continue to unfold, by the way, because we have a team that continues to investigate this. We have been investigating it ever since the declaration of those results until today, until the day in which we have to actually present that evidence. But here's the reality. We know the evidence that we submitted. We are in a position where now we believe we need to change the strategy, because we don't want our case to be dismissed on the basis of technicalities.
Okay.
And we could see that if people are coming with an answering affidavit that where they're trying to use technicalities in actual fact not realizing they're opening up a can of worms, then we leverage that. Nothing wrong with that.
But then even in this current court application that you are withdrawing, you didn't include the evidence. So why can't you take whatever strong evidence you have to court? Because vote rigging, which I'm sure you understand, is quite a serious matter. So any evidence, big or small, that proves the fraud that you claim will actually work in your favor.
No, but it's not just about evidence and just evidence. You must remember, we're looking at procedures here and legal framework. When you're working with a legal team, they don't just look at just based on the evidence. They look at, what's the substance of that evidence and how you present that evidence. It becomes important. And there's nothing wrong with changing strategy in terms of how you present that evidence and at which court, for instance, you can present certain evidence. There's elements of criminality there, for instance. Is the IEC a best platform for the presentation of criminality? That's another question you need to take into consideration. Does that not lead into certain other elements? That's something else. But look, I'm not going to divulge what the strategy is here. All I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with changing strategy, and upon realizing that the respondent has now given a whole lot more and given more credence and strength to your case, that you can't change that your approach.
But if really they're strengthening your case, then why are you withdrawing? I mean, if in that answering affidavit you are seeing things that actually reveal and strengthen your case, you just need to respond and continue with the court case.
No, Bennett, you continue to miss the point. I am saying, when you get feedback off the back of an answering affidavit that gives you a different, at least a different approach that you can take, what's wrong with taking that approach? Because there's elements of, for instance, criminality that I'm raising here. Are you saying that the electoral court can deal with the issues of criminality and deal with, without giving out our strategy, other elements of the evidence that we have? No. So there's nothing wrong with us changing our strategy.
What are these technical and procedural issues you want to deal with?
No, I cannot disclose that to you.
Okay, let me tell you what I think is probably going on here, because I went through the papers as well.
Believe this.
In their papers.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you're saying.
So I wanted to say, let me put this to you from what the IEC argued in their papers. They argued that you as the MK party failed to file a compliant objection before the results were announced. So what the law expects is that you actually have to serve an affidavit or serve a sworn statement, not only to the IEC, but to the other parties as well. That's what actually the law says, before you can object to the election results and go to a court, whether it's the electoral court or any other court. And that's not really what you've done.
Are you saying that's not really what we've done?
Yes, the IEC says you've not done that. The IEC says what you've done is You've just merely written to them
No,
to
but
complain about the words being read, but you've actually not done an affidavit or a sworn statement that you sent to them or to the other parties as well.
Okay, Clement, I think you need to be careful with your choice of words here. You can't say not really and then say the IEC. So it's either your position or the IEC position. What I'm saying to you here is that we did have sworn affidavits. There's no way we would not have followed the process and the procedures. We went to the police station, we presented the evidence, we got an affidavit with the police station, we got case numbers open, and we submitted those as per section 55 of the IEC. They even went to the extension, if you recall, of even indulging us and condoning for submissions to be made to the following day. We shared those, and as you would recall, we had a press conference with all other parties where we addressed this issue and we rejected the declaration of those results alongside other parties. When we submit our papers, we submitted those papers alongside other parties. We shared the same documentation and the case numbers alongside other parties. So this misconception that's been created that all of a sudden, we didn't follow procedure, that's a total lie. The reality here is there is evidence. Did they even look at the evidence? They declared, by the way, at the point at which we even submitted those objections, they declared that they were going to announce and declare the results right in the midst of objections that were ought to be looked at. They didn't even look at those. They didn't even contact us. Instead, like we said in our press briefing, the CEO called us into what would be a hush-hush side meeting for him to now try and discuss what are the issues in terms of discrepancies that we picked up in our case. Why didn't they take us into their confidence and the public into their confidence and have a presser, which is what we requested? No, instead they call us to the side.
But they said you're not...
now.
Where is the evidence? Because that's really what this case is about in Samulo. When you went to the Constitutional Court to try and stop the first sitting of Parliament, you didn't submit the evidence. At the time, your justification, and Natin Hleko, who is your national organizer, was on this show, and he said, the evidence is strong and is already there. We're going to take it to the Electoral Court. And when you get to the Electoral Court, you don't reveal that evidence. Like the case is about evidence of vote rigging, but you're not leading with that.
No, I think where you have missed it is that you recall at one point the IEC said in a statement that they don't believe the evidence that we submitted was strong enough. So how could they come to that conclusion?
No, I mean to court. To court. I mean, you went to the Constitutional Court.
The Electoral Court, even the Electoral Court, because the same evidence the Electoral Court presented to the IEC, that also. So the IEC was making that feedback or the giving that position of the pickup of the receipt from the Electoral Court based on the evidence that we submitted.
What evidence was that?
Wait, hold on, stop interjecting, let me finish off. So, we cannot now create a perception that we didn't submit any evidence. You're asking me, where's the evidence? I'm saying to you, don't create an impression that there was no evidence. Okay. There was evidence that was submitted. Sure. Number one. Number two, the Constitutional Court issue that you're referring to was not about evidence. The Constitutional Court was to say that we do not believe that there should be a continuation of the swearing in. We're dealing with the issue of the swearing in of the National Assembly, dealing with the issue of whether the National Assembly will be able to correct to even sit to appoint a president. That was what we're saying that cannot happen, especially in light of the fact that one, it cannot correct, and two, there's an issue of the declaration of results that we believe, ought to be dealt with also. So it had nothing to do with us having to submit evidence there. It was a totally different issue. But instead, the Constitutional Court gave an order and even referred to and pronounced certain elements of our submission that had nothing to do with what we were requesting. Okay. They actually presented over a court case which doesn't even exist. That was not even our submission.
All right, let me go back to the question I'm asking then. What is the evidence you have that suggests to you that the votes were rigged?
Look, the evidence we have is in the form of the slips, okay, which we've collected from various BDs, and we've got a team that is working and collecting all of that, and we've collated all of that, and we've demonstrated certain discrepancies in terms of the votes that were voted against, in terms of what was voted and what was actually kept in the IEC. So that's one. The other one is that we've mentioned that we've got voice notes of individuals who were calling each other during that 2-hour period, and we've got an audit report, an IT audit report, and a forensic report to that extent. So
what did the voice notes say?
No, I'm not going to touch on that. That will be presented in court. That's not our place for you and I to talk right now.
But they're not is this evidence in court? In the DA joined the application, the IEC, the reason the DA and the IEC said we don't think this will be a successful court case is because they said these people are bringing a case, but they're not bringing evidence to it.
You know what we find strange is that don't forget the same DA benefited from this rigging fact. So, and you'll see that when we actually present our case. So naturally, they want to protect the IEC because from where we're sitting, and starting to point that they were probably colluding with the IEC. Right? So until then, I'm not going to be touching on the DA and then all of a sudden want to be friends of the court. No, I'm not interested in the DA. We know what their agenda is. What we're focusing on is that we've got a case that's solid, we're going to submit it, and that withdrawal was a strategic.
Okay, when can we expect you to take it back?
It will be expeditiously and soon.
That was the spokesman of the MK party clarifying the withdrawal of its application against the IEC at the Electoral Court, which seek to invalidate the 2024 election results. So do you agree with what Tlamulo said, or you think maybe it is a ploy? It was a ploy just to confuse everyone, and the withdrawal is because there's no sufficient evidence. Please leave your comment. Don't forget to subscribe on this channel if you haven't, and like, share this video, and check you in the next video. Cheers and take care.